bottomless, absolutely bottomless. You don't even know how to breathe. You really just don't know how to breathe.
It's like you have this heavy weight on your chest, and that it's like you keep having to try and breathe, and it just feels like you take short breaths, but it just seems like there's no hope.
And the fear, just standing there going, what are you going to do? But you really feel that you have nothing. I mean, absolutely nothing. You just feel hopeless, you know, truly, truly hopeless.
One of our employees, Jacqueline De La Rosa, was diagnosed with breast cancer. And her son was accidentally shot, and he was hit in the neck by a bullet, and he was paralyzed for life from the neck down, so he'll never walk again. And to have both of those things happen within 4 weeks is almost indescribable. And, it took a toll on all of us. And immediately we all went into protect mode and said, what is it that we can do? How can we help? Where do we go from here? And that's when we started looking.
He had called and said, Denise, we lost everything. And I said, well, what do you mean we lost everything? You know, I'm like, you're kind of, you don't really understand the scope of that. Obviously, there was nothing to be saved. I mean, absolutely nothing. I mean, and cabinets had fallen, and, you know, just, you couldn't even walk in, you know, to get into the house.
Katrina was major devastation here for my business. We got wiped out, our roof was ripped off. Everything from the ceiling down, instead of being flooded, we were flooded from above.
I didn't know if my husband was alive or not for 3 days. I went from having a beautiful home, I have 2 teenage daughters, to having nothing, to having the clothes that we brought with us, and that was it. So when you're in this overwhelming feeling of you have to start all over again, it's really overwhelming. All my daughter wanted was a bed for Christmas. And as a parent, to be able to have your child look at you and that's all they want is a new bed, it's really something that takes you back, because these things do happen to us. You never think they're going to happen to you, but they do happen to you.
I can still remember walking into my factory and just falling down on my knees and just bawling because everything was mush. My $40,000 cutting machine, which I had just made the last payment on, was all rust. I guess it's like a death. You know, you can talk about it, but the ache and the pain of all you had built.
In December of 2006, I was diagnosed with cancer. I started chemo and radiation immediately, January. For a great part of that time, I wasn't able to come to work on a day-to-day basis. When you lose control of your body and being able to control your life, it's just not a good feeling. It's really not.
We were able to present her with enough money to pay 6 months worth of her mortgage and some on top of that for expenses. And she cried. And I think that's the first time I ever saw her really cry. And she was so grateful. And she knew at that point that she had the tools that she needed to take care of her son and take care of herself.
I remember Dan and I, we were looking at bills and everything and going, we're not gonna make it, you know, I just don't know how we're gonna do this. And so I remember opening up that envelope and I thought, oh my God, I was like, there are angels on earth. And I said, what is this, what is all this money, you know? And she said, well, with no fear and search, they were able to raise money to help people in the industry. And I thought to myself, and this is for me, like they're giving this to me. And I just remember I called Dan and I said, we're gonna be okay.
Search did a great deal helping me out too with some funds for rebuilding my cooler right behind me. And without the cooler, I'm non-existent as a florist and a decorator. It's a phenomenal organization. I was overjoyed that this was happening. I couldn't believe it was happening because you weren't getting that kind of help from the government or anybody.
Search Foundation did something really wonderful for us in New Orleans. They gave us hope. I mean, I sat in the middle of of the mall when I met someone from No Fair, and they're like, "This is from Search. Merry Christmas." And the feeling that gave me when I really was at my lowest, when I thought I can't even buy a bed for my daughter for Christmas because I had to put a roof over our heads.
I mean, here you are in the midst of debt, in the midst of despair, and an organization steps forward and says, here's something to help, and you don't have to pay it back. Do you know what kind of music that is to my ears? I mean, here's something because we care about you, because we want to help your business. This is for you, Renee. And I cried. I mean, I cried when I found out I got that kind of support.
They put a check mark by my name and said, yes, we're going to help Susan Allen. And they did. And they gave me a dollar amount to assist me with my bills. And that's when you have people, friends, and organizations like Search that come around and, you know, help you rebuild your foundation, help you to make things right. And that makes a big difference.
We just had a lady, as a matter of fact, be a recipient just a few months ago that has lost her 3-year-old to cancer and could not bury her daughter. You know, the funds were able to allow her to help bury her daughter. I mean, you know, how do you put thanks on that? I mean, you don't.
I just realized, you know, we have to be there for each other. And I know that I belong to a community of really wonderful people.
We will forever be grateful for that, because it just came when we needed it the most, and forever grateful.
So her life is on an upswing. She's going to be okay, and we're going to be okay. And it's because of Search that a lot of people are going to be okay.